This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Nate Olson's with us here from Scorebook Live, covering all things high school sports in the state of Arkansas, and really every other state too. Nate, what's going on, man? How are you? We're coming. We don't have all that much left in the regular season, don't we?
No, it moves so fast. You wait all this time for it to happen, and then it comes, and it's like Christmas. It's over before you know it. But we've got some really good matchups coming down the pike. Week 10 is going to be really good. We've got some stuff coming before that, but it's shaping up to be really good in some of these conferences. And we've already had a few good games, but I think when we talk the next couple of weeks, it's going to get really good, and I think the playoffs will be good too. Some things that have happened that we didn't expect, and some teams that we wouldn't have thought would be in certain positions that are. So it's been good. It's been exciting.
All right. Well, let's see where should we start. Let's start in the 6A West with a really good matchup. Lake Hamilton in Greenwood. This game being played in Greenwood. And Hunter Houston going out there for Greenwood, Justin Crutchmer for Lake Hamilton. Lake Hamilton, the Wolves leading that conference right now at 5-0, and are undefeated overall with 7 victories. Greenwood has the one loss, but is still undefeated in the league. What do you expect out of this game?
Well, this is interesting. Greenwood 53 straight home victories. They got the big one against Northside where they trailed in that game. To keep it rolling, and then since then haven't been tested this year. This game will test them. I think it will. First of all, I just want to say, as far as Greenwood goes, we gave Kane Archer a lot of publicity. It's very unique for a freshman to have a chance to play at the varsity level. And when he engineered that comeback against Northside, like I mentioned, that was national type news. People all over the country got to know him, but he hasn't played a lot because Hunter Houston is a very good player himself, and he has been able to stay healthy. That's been the one difference from last year. He's thrown for over 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He's arguably probably the best quarterback right now, and Drake Lindsay and a couple others would have something to say about that, but he's been very, very good. And so want to give him his due. I think even when we wrote that story, it wasn't anything against him or anything like that. I think we mentioned in there he threw for 3,000 yards last year, and it's one of those situations where they have a great quarterback. He was the number one quarterback, and Chris Young said that the whole time. But when you've got a guy that's a freshman who's one of the top players in that freshman class that already has offers, I think that was something that we definitely had to acknowledge, and we did that. But Houston has proven to be a college prospect himself. I think he had some D2 offers, but I'm not so sure that before it's said and done, he won't have some Division I offers. And tomorrow night will be big for him. Those are the kinds of nights that these Greenwood stars that have come through in the past live for. These type of games, they win most of them at home. I mean, there's a mystique. The stadium is going to be electric, like a playoff type atmosphere. On the flip side, Lake Hamilton was a good team last year, but I think this year they're a great team. And I think the reason why is because Easton Hurley is the quarterback. They made an emphasis to throw the ball more. Last year they lost a few games at the end of the year. They lost the state championship game the year before that against Greenwood, and they couldn't come back in the second half. They made a commitment to pass the ball. 868 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns for Easton Hurley. He's done a terrific job making them more diverse. And then Justin Crutchmer, the guy is one of the leaders in the clubhouse for Player of the Year right now. You've got to consider him. He plays offense, defense, special teams. He's returned kicks for touchdowns. He's returned an interception for a touchdown. He has had over 200 yards receiving the ball. He's had, I think, around 200 yards rushing. The guy is a phenom, and he's a 3-time All-State wrestler, champion wrestler. So he's really emerged this year as one of the superstars in football. But I think this is going to be really hard for them to win at Greenwood. I mean, when you talk about 53 straight wins at home. They don't lose at home much, and even if you went back like the whole history of the school, they don't lose home games much. And that is a really good atmosphere there. But I think this is going to be one of the games of the year. I think it comes down to the end. I think Greenwood can pull it out at home. But Lake Hamilton, no matter what happens tomorrow night, Lake Hamilton is a team to reckon with. And I think you've got 3 legitimate state title contenders in the West with Greenwood, Lake Hamilton, and Pulaski Academy. And I think Little Rock Christian is actually a team that can make a run, too, against the Eastern competition. Little Rock Catholic have an undefeated season. West Memphis pretty good. But I think those 4 teams stack up very well against the East.
Look at the 7A West. Big matchup with Bentonville and Fayetteville playing in Bentonville tomorrow night. Bentonville is 5-1, 4-0 in the 7A West. Fayetteville 2-1, but they bounced back nicely after a loss they put up 60 points last week. And you got Joey Sua, a signee for Arkansas at offensive tackle for Bentonville. Brooks Urachek, linebacker for Fayetteville, and he got the preferred walk-on offer last month.
Yep. Yeah, this is a feud that Fayetteville has done a good job of in the state championship game and in the playoffs, but in the regular season, Bentonville is 15-1 against them. Fayetteville got the first win last year in that series, and after losing a bunch in a row, and so now they stopped that losing streak. They went to the state championship. I think that was a big game for them to win last year. Things are a little bit different this year. Bentonville is in that power ranking, number 1 in my opinion, and Fayetteville and Rogers and Bentonville West are in a group behind them, but I don't feel like the gap is too big. Last year I felt like Bentonville had a bigger gap than Fayetteville, even though Fayetteville was good and then went to the championship. I still felt like, Bentonville's favored because they'd won so many, but this year I think it's a little bit different. And the game is at Bentonville. They're undefeated, but I really like what Fayetteville has done with the plug and play. I mentioned Drake Lindsay earlier. He's having a fantastic year. He's got some national notoriety for kind of being a guy that's come in and played right away that might have flown under the radar. So some national publicity for him. I'm sure that has resulted in some college attention for sure with his pedigree and everything. And I know colleges are looking at him, thrown for a bunch of touchdowns. So they have Casey Dick and company has plugged some players in. They lost some really good players, but they've been able to find replacements, including Lindsay, and they have been super competitive. Lost to Cabot, but in the last seconds, lost to Rogers in the last second. But I think this is a tough game. Fayetteville wins it, they can still win a conference championship. If they don't, they won't be able to. Most likely, Bentonville trying to get back to winning the conference title after not last year. And they've got Josh Ficklin, who's, I think, a little bit of an underrated running back. He's good. He's going to Illinois State. Carter Nye, the good quarterback. They've done some plug and play too at quarterback. And Sua is a monster. He is a great lineman, and I know that he's ready to go to Arkansas and help them out down there. But he wants to win a state title before he goes. So this is going to be. We wrote the story. It's up. We'll be online soon. But it's going to be another one of those games. When these two teams meet, it's playoff type atmosphere. It's a big time atmosphere, and it's going to be the same way again. I think it goes down to the end. Fayetteville's already lost 2 close games. They don't want to lose another one. So I think that'll that's what'll happen. And Bentonville's got a little bit of advantage playing at home, but I think this will be a really even game.
So you got Alma visiting Harrison. Alma coming off a laugher, blowing out Pea Ridge last week. Harrison stumbled recently, dropped 3 out of the last 4.
Alma's had one of their
Shiloh last week.
Right, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Alma has had one of the better seasons they've had in a long time, over a decade. They're 5-1. Like you said, they blew out Pea Ridge, and Joe Trusty is doing what we thought he would do at quarterback. He did lose his favorite receiver last year, but they've had guys step up, and Trusty has been very, very good. And they're still in a they lost to Farmington, but their hope is still alive for conference championship. And the defense has played well too under Rusty Bush. Harrison is kind of going the other way. They looked really good at the beginning of the year. Now they've lost to Shiloh and Farmington. They really need to win this one to get back in, to try to make the playoffs. The West is really competitive there. So I think this is a winnable game for them, but they have to shake off that blowout and get back to running the football well with Braden Long and holding on to the ball, keep Alma off the field, and kind of win a grudge match with them. If they can do that, they are very hard to beat at Harrison too. That's a tough place to play. The crowd will be out; they'll be supporting them. This will be a big test for Alma, even though the records are different. Harrison's still not a bad football team, so yeah, I think this will be a tough one. I think Alma pulls it out, but I think they're going to be in for a battle.
I got to make sure I ask this question for my favorite fishing guide, Phil, who's up there in the White River. He wanted to know about Melbourne at Perryville. Melbourne has sort of taken over in that 3A2 conference right now, undefeated at 6-0.
Melbourne is a heck of a story that I don't think a lot of people know about. I mean, first of all, they're undefeated, but they've also got a coach by the name of Stu Smith, who is an Arkansas State representative for District 63 up there. And he'd never been a head coach. He's an older guy, but he'd been an assistant at Batesville and Van Buren and decided that he wanted to go ahead and quit politics. And as soon as he decided that, the school district offers him a teaching job, and he's going to do it. Then the football coach left. They offered him the head football coaching job, and he's like, I don't know about doing that. I've still got my political career. So he's going to end that in January, I think, when his term ends, Stu Smith. But, I mean, what a great job. I mean, he's a rookie head coach, not new to high school football at all. But, I mean, taking over a relatively young program at Melbourne, and Trey Wren has really done a great job for them. 17 touchdowns. He's completed 76% of his passes with one interception. And then he goes up against the Perryville quarterback, Tyler Givens, 1,500 total yards, 16 touchdowns. It's going to really challenge Melbourne's defense to stop Perryville at Perryville. But I look for this Cinderella season to keep going. I think this is one of the better stories right now in Arkansas high school football. And nestled up there in north central Arkansas, a lot of people don't know about Melbourne. And they've been a basketball school forever. Their girls program is tremendous. The boys, too. But he's putting the football team on the map and doing it his first year as a head coach.
Nate Olson from Scorebook Live with us here. Nate, I got 2 texts in the last 5 minutes asking about Lavaca. So they host Greenland. Lavaca's undefeated, and the Golden Arrows playing great football. Do you have anything on that game?
Yeah, no, they are undefeated, and I think the one question about them would be, the competition level, but that's going to start taking care of itself because they're going to play some of the heavyweights of that league soon. Greenland is not a bad team, but they're not probably considered the upper echelon of that league. So Lavaca wins again. High-powered offense. They put up a lot of points last week. They win 31-7. So probably heavily favored again to win. But the next couple of weeks, Boonville and Charleston, we'll talk more about those games. That's kind of when the rubber is going to meet the road a little bit for Coach Headley's team. You cannot control who you play, but definitely right now you'd probably say the strength of schedule is not, tremendous. But last week, beating West Fork 31-7, that's a nice win for them. So they keep it going, and then we will see. If you beat Boonville and Charleston, I think at that point, or if you split, you've got to be considered a contender for a state title. So I know they're excited about that. I covered them a long time ago, and when I was previously in another group, and they had a good run then. It doesn't seem like they've been, really great since then. And now, I know that community has really rallied around this team, and it's a really big deal that the Golden Arrows are winning.
Nate, we'll leave it there. Appreciate you hopping on and as thorough as you are, and always like talking with you on or off the air. So hope to see you sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Appreciate it.
Football is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all your football betting needs this season. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events like MLB, MMA, tennis, boxing, and even golf. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.